Thank you for visiting my channel. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button so you'll be notified of future presentations. Today we will discuss Hidden Treasure under Articles 438 and 439 of the New Civil Code, and additionally of Lost and Found Movables under Articles 719 and 720 of the New Civil Code. Before we start with the codal provisions, please consider the following question. Pedro died, leaving behind his earthly possessions to his son Pedrito. Among the things that were left behind was the old man's favorite sofa bed. To dispose of the old man's things, Pedrito held a garage sale and the sofa bed was purchased by Mauro for 200 pesos. Mauro brought the sofa bed to Nilo's shop for upholstery, and while stripping the furniture of its old foam stuffing, Nilo's employee, Onyok, found a golden postizo hidden inside the foam. First question, is the golden postizo a hidden treasure? And second question, to whom does it belong? Now let's move on to the codal provisions pertaining to hidden treasure. Article 438 states, hidden treasure belongs to the owner of the land, building, or other property on which it is found. Nevertheless, when the discovery is made on the property of another, or of the state or any of its subdivisions, and by chance, one half thereof shall be allowed to the finder. If the finder is a trespasser, he shall not be entitled to any share of the treasure. If the things found be of interest to science or the arts, the state may acquire them at their just price, which shall be divided in conformity with the rules stated. Article 439 states, by treasure is understood, for legal purposes, any hidden and unknown deposit of money, jewelry, or other precious objects, the lawful ownership of which does not appear. Let us restructure Articles 438 and 439 by stating the general rule and its exceptions. So here is the general rule and its exceptions. General rule, hidden treasure belongs to the owner of the land, building, or other property on which it is found. First exception is, when the discovery is made on the property of another, or of the state or any of its subdivisions, and by chance, one half thereof shall be allowed to the finder. And exception to exception number 1 is, if the finder is a trespasser, he shall not be entitled to any share of the treasure. The second exception to the general rule is, if the things found be of interest to science or the arts, the state may acquire them at their just price, which shall be divided in conformity with the rule stated. To recap, hidden treasure belongs to the owner of the land, building, or other property on which it is found. But when the discovery is made on the property of another, or of the state or any of its subdivisions, and by chance, one half thereof shall be allowed to the finder. However, if the finder is a trespasser, he shall not be entitled to any share of the treasure. And if the things found be of interest to science or the arts, the state may acquire them at their just price, which shall be divided in conformity with the rule stated. The last paragraph of Article 438 refers to the exercise of the power of eminent domain by the state. So the following are the elements of hidden treasure. 1. The deposit is hidden and unknown. 2. The owner is unknown or unidentified. And 3. It consists of money, jewelry, or other precious objects. And what is meant by other precious objects? Under the ejus dem generis rule, the phrase should be understood to refer to objects similar to money or jewelry. Requisites when finder is entitled to a share in the hidden treasure. 1. Discovery was made on the property of another or of the state or any of its political subdivisions. 2. Discovery was made by chance, and 3. He is not a trespasser or agent of the owner of the property where treasure was found. Rule where finder is married. If finder is married, his share in the hidden treasure shall belong to the absolute community of property or to the conjugal partnership of gains, whichever is applicable, in accordance with the provisions of the Family Code of the Philippines. There is a scarcity of cases involving hidden treasures, so we shall consider the bar questions instead. Here is a question given in the 2014 bar. A congregation for religious women, by way of comodatum, is using the real property owned and registered in the name of Spouses Manuel as a retreat house. Maria, a helper of the congregation, discovered a chest in the backyard. When she opened the chest, it contained several pieces of jewelry and money. First question, can the chest containing the pieces of jewelry and money be considered as hidden treasure? Second question, who has the right to claim ownership of it? Suggested answers. As to the first question, can the chest containing the pieces of jewelry and money be considered as hidden treasure? The answer is no. For property to be considered hidden treasure, it must consist of money, jewelry, or other precious objects, the lawful ownership of which does not appear. In the case at bar, the chest was just lying in the backyard and the real property where it was found belongs to the spouses Manuel. They are thus presumed the owner of the chest where the jewelry was found. As to the second question, who has the right to claim ownership of it? The suggested answer is, since it does not come within the purview of hidden treasure, the spouses Manuel have the right to claim ownership over the chest as well as its contents. This question appeared in the 1995 bar. Tim came into possession of an old map showing where a purported cache of gold bullion was hidden. Without any authority from the government, Tim conducted a relentless search and finally found the treasure buried in a new riverbed formerly part of a parcel of land owned by spouses Tirso and Tessie. The old river which used to cut through the land of spouses Ursula and Orbito changed its course through natural causes. To whom shall the treasure belong? Explain. Suggested answer. The treasure was found in a property of public dominion, the new riverbed. Since Tim did not have authority from the government, therefore was a trespasser, he is not entitled to the one-half share allotted to a finder of hidden treasure. All of it will go to the state. In addition, under Article 438 of the new Civil Code, in order that a finder be entitled to the one-half share, the treasure must be found by chance, that is, by sheer luck. In this case, since Tim found the treasure not by chance but because he relentlessly searched for it, he is not entitled to any share in the hidden treasure. In the 2010 bar, this question was given. O, owner of Lot A, learning that Japanese soldiers may have burned gold and other treasures at the adjoining vacant Lot B belonging to spouses X and Y, excavated in Lot B where she succeeded in unearthing gold and precious stones. How will the treasures found by O be divided? First choice, 100% to O as finder. Second, 50% to O and 50% to spouses X and Y. Third, 50% to O and 50% to the state. And fourth, none of the above. Suggested answer, none of the above. The general rule is that the treasure shall belong to the spouses X and Y, the owners of Lot B. Under Article 438 of the new Civil Code, the exception is that when the discovery of a hidden treasure is made on the property of another and by chance, one half is allowed to the finder. In the problem, the finding of the treasure was not by chance because O knew that the treasure was in Lot B. While a trespasser is also not entitled to any share, and there is no indication in the problem whether or not O was a trespasser, O is not entitled to a share because the finding was not by chance. This question appeared in the 1997 bar. Marcelino, a treasure hunter as a hobby, has found a map which appears to indicate the location of hidden treasure. He has an idea of the land where the treasure might possibly be found. Upon inquiry, Marcelino learns that the owner of the land, Leopoldo, is a permanent resident of Canada. Nobody, however, could give him Leopoldo's exact address. Ultimately, anyway, he enters the land and conducts a search, and he succeeds. Leopoldo, learning of Marcelino's find, seeks to recover the treasure from Marcelino, but the latter is not willing to part with it. Failing to reach an agreement, Leopoldo sues Marcelino for the recovery of the property. Marcelino contests the action. How would you decide the case? Suggested answer: I would decide in favor of Marcelino, since he is considered a finder by chance of the hidden treasure, hence he is entitled to one half of the hidden treasure. While Marcelino may have had the intention to look for the hidden treasure, still he is a finder by chance, since it is enough that he tried to look for it. By chance, the law does not mean sheer luck such that the finder should have no intention at all to look for the treasure. By chance means good luck, implying that one who intentionally looks for the hidden treasure is embraced in the provision. The reason is that it is extremely difficult to find hidden treasure without looking for it deliberately. Marcelino is not a trespasser since there is no prohibition for him to enter the premises, hence he is entitled to one half of the treasure. Articles 438 and 439 of the new Civil Code govern treasure hunting on private property. Treasure hunting on government property is governed by Presidential Decree number 1726-A, entitled Providing Guidelines on Treasure Hunting, which took effect on October 1, 1980. This special law regulates treasure hunting on government property. It requires that treasure hunters must secure permit from the government, which shall oversee the diggings and take possession of all items recovered and sell them. After deduction of government expenses, the remaining value shall be divided equally between the government and the permittee hunter. If the treasures consist of war spoils of booty or anything of value buried by Imperial Japanese forces during World War II, the split will be 75-25 in favor of the government. Take note that these guidelines pertain to treasure hunting on government property only. Treasure hunting on private property is governed by the new Civil Code. Let's move on to the lost and found movables which are not treasure under Articles 719 and 720 of the new Civil Code. Article 719. Whoever finds a movable which is not treasure must return it to its previous possessor. If the latter is unknown, the finder shall immediately deposit it with the mayor of the city or municipality where the finding has taken place. The finding shall be publicly announced by the mayor for 2 consecutive weeks in the way he deems best. If the movable cannot be kept without deterioration or without expenses which considerably diminish its value, it shall be sold at public auction 8 days after the publication. 6 months from the publication having elapsed without the owner having appeared, the thing found or its value shall be awarded to the finder. The finder and the owner shall be obliged, as the case may be, to reimburse the expenses. Article 720. If the owner should appear in time, he shall be obliged to pay as a reward to the finder 1/10 of the sum or of the price of the thing found. Let us restructure Articles 719 and 720 by stating the general rule and its exceptions. The general rule is, Whoever finds a movable which is not treasure must return it to its previous possessor. And the exception is, if the latter is unknown, the finder shall immediately deposit it with the mayor of the city or municipality where the finding has taken place. The finding shall be publicly announced by the mayor for 2 consecutive weeks in the way he deems best. Here is the rule if the movable found is perishable. If the movable cannot be kept without deterioration or without expenses which considerably diminish its value, it shall be sold at public auction 8 days after the publication. What if the owner does not appear? 6 months from the publication having elapsed without the owner having appeared, the thing found or its value shall be awarded to the finder. The finder and the owner shall be obliged, as the case may be, to reimburse the expenses. And if the owner should appear in time, he shall be obliged to pay as a reward to the finder 1/10 of the sum or of the price of the thing found. If you find this presentation helpful, hit the subscribe button below to get notification of future lectures. Please comment below for your thoughts, observations, and suggestions. Thank you.